A narrator at the beginning of the movie describes how certain music is supposedly so potent that it may summon ghosts from the past and the future and has the potential to draw evil. Let's jump into live action. During October 1932, Clarksdale, Mississippi, Miles Carton's character, Sammy Moore, carrying a broken guitar neck, is battered and bears claw scars on his face as he drives to a church. When he walks into the church, his father, a preacher called Jedediah, played by Saul Williams, tries to help his son by telling him to stop playing music and turn from his evil ways. Sammy just holds onto the guitar's neck. Sammy's cousins, twin brothers Elijah and Elias Moore, also known as Smoke and Stack, played by Michael B. Jordan, were on their way back to Clarksdale from Chicago a day earlier. The identical twins bought an old lumber mill from Hogwood. David Maldonado, a former Klansman, and stole money from a mobster alias Al Capone. To draw in members of the black community, they intend to convert it into a juke joint. Smoke travels to the city to enlist the assistance of longtime friends Grace and Bo Cho, Li Yang Lee, and Yao, in order to help make a sign and get more items for the opening night. Smoke demonstrates his seriousness by shooting one young man in the leg and the other in the butt as he witnesses them attempting to loot his truck of booze. The twins' repute is known to others in the community. Before locating another old acquaintance, Conrad, Omar Miller, and employing him from a cotton farm to provide protection, Stark hires Sammy, a budding blues artist. By providing him the Irish beer they plan to market, Stark wins him over. Mary Haley Steinfeld, Smoke and Stark's childhood buddy and Stark's former sweetheart, approaches the man a short while later. Since the twins had not treated her mother like a mother, Mary is disappointed that they never brought flowers or condolences for her mother who passed away a day before. In addition, Sammy meets Pauline James Lawson, a married lady he approaches and extends an invitation to attend the launch of the juke joint. Smoke visits the voodoo practice of his estranged wife, Annie Wunmi Musaku. The couple's time apart was partly caused by the loss of a child years prior. Annie says the twins are safe because of her voodoo techniques. After that, Annie and Smoke have eggs. An Irish guy named Remick Jack O'Connell rushes to the house of Bart and Joan, Peter Dreymanis and Lola Cake, a bigoted couple, as the sun sets. By promising them riches in return for protection against injuns, Remick persuades them to grant him entry. Joan disregards the Choctaws' warning that Remick is a dangerous guy when they soon arrive at the home and send the men away. When Joan returns inside, she finds that Remick has just transformed Bat into a vampire. They then turn Joan over as well. A sizable crowd gathers as the brothers launch the juke joint. But simply to get the building up and going, they had to spend a lot of money. Smoke is persuaded to let certain individuals use scripts to pay for coverage by Stark and Annie. Since Mary is about 1/8 black on her mother's side, she is permitted to get in since she is regarded as kin. Sammy performs his song for Stark. The entire audience is enthralled by his heartfelt performance. Sammy may summon spirits with his song since it is so potent. In the juke joint, black musicians from many eras and cultures are seen participating in the festivities. As everyone keeps dancing, it looks like the place is burning down. This catches Remick, Bat, and Joan's interest. The vampires pretend to be musicians who wish to join the juke joint after hearing the music being played. The three of them perform a little, but Smoke is wary of them and refuses to let them in even though they promise to pay. Knowing that the brothers could use the proceeds, Mary makes the decision to go speak with them directly. Mary finds their music impressive, but as Remick's eyes get red and he begins to salivate, she realizes something is wrong. Remick dives towards Mary as she begins to leave. While Slim takes over security, Conrad walks outdoors to freshen up. Bart and Joan insult Conrad in an attempt to get him to leave. In the meantime, Pauline is taken to a room by Sammy, who then engages in intimate moment. After being led back inside the Jew club, Mary tries to woo Smoke before going back to Stuck. They enter a room and engage in intimacy. Smoke handles a customer who, after being discovered for using loaded dice, cut another guy across the face with a razor. Stuck is too ashamed to resist Mary's intimacy. When Smoke tells Sammy to fetch him, Mary is found nibbling at Stuck's neck when Smoke visits. Mary survives and swears to murder everyone before fleeing when Smoke shoots her with his pistols. Smoke, Sammy, Annie, Slim, Pauline, and Grace are the only people left in the establishment after Smoke and Slim ask everyone else to leave. When they leave, Conrad comes back and insists on being allowed inside. Annie knows that something is not right. When Smoke reaches for the money, Conrad resists. A vampire Conrad attempts to assault him, but is shot in the face and runs away. They are dealing with vampires. Annie understands. When Annie sprinkles him with chosen garlic juice, Stuck eventually resurrects as a vampire within the closet and erupts before running out of the place. In the end, Bo and the other customers are turned by the vampires. The vampire throng expands beyond the establishment. Remick goes to join Bat, Stuck, and Mary. As Stuck has seen Remick's perception, he supports his explanation that the brothers were deliberately set up by Hogwood, the grand dragon of the clan, who intended to have Bat, his nephew, lead other clansmen to take out the twins and their clients. Remick wants Sammy because he believes that his musical abilities may bring back the souls of his own people, whom he lost, and does not share the racial beliefs of the clan. Remick gives the gang the opportunity to become into vampires, which will grant them immortality and shield them from racial discrimination. Remick proposes that they see Grace and Bo's adolescent daughter Lisa, Helena Hugh, after they decline. A last battle ensues as the survivors amass stakes, firearms, and garlic, while Grace yells for the vampires to enter. Grace throws a stake at Bo, igniting the fire between them. Pauline is mortally wounded in front of Sammy, and Slim cuts his arm, drawing a horde of vampires to pursue him. The majority of the other vampires have been blasted and impaled. Annie is infected, and before she can change, Smoke stabs her in the heart. When Stuck and Mary see this, they momentarily regain their humanity and exhibit shock and grief for Annie's passing. Sammy tries to get away from Remick outdoors while Smoke and Stuck fight. Sammy jumps the silver portion of the twins' father's guitar into Remick's skull while the vampire claws at his face. Then, as the sun rises, Smoke appears to stake Remick through the chest. While the other vampires burn, Remick erupts into an inferno. Smoke gives Sammy the command to go immediately since he knows the clan is approaching. When the clansmen show up there, Smoke conceals and grabs his weaponry. He then uses a Tommy gun and even a hand grenade to blast them to death. Smoke is shot in the stomach by one of the clansmen, but they are also blown up. The final person standing, Hogwood, offers Smoke money for his life, but Smoke gives him a lot of lead instead. Smoke sees Annie's and their child's spirit as he begins to die. Even though his father begs him to stop playing music, Sammy goes back to the chapel. He continues to hold the instruments as he drives north. Sammy, Buddy Guy, is seen in the post-credits as an old blues performer in 1992. Stuck and Mary locate him following a play. After giving him a cordial welcome, Stuck tells him that Smoke couldn't kill him and tells him to avoid Sammy. Sammy claims he has seen enough of the world and is prepared to leave when the time is right. But Stuck understands that he is running out of time and offers to turn him so he may remain around longer and continue performing music. Sammy performs a final song for Mary and Stuck. Before they depart, Sammy claims that although he still had hallucinations from that fateful evening, the day before the sunset was the happiest of his entire life. According to Stuck, that was the final occasion when he had a glimpse of the sun and his brother, and the final time he felt totally liberated. Jumping over to my 2 cents, the cinema director and hitmaker Ryan Coogler began his career in socially conscious cinema with Fruitvale Station, rose to prominence as the Wakandan producer with Black Panther, and brought some flair to the Creed film series. The story of Mississippi blues musician Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil at a rural crossroads in exchange for fame and wealth serves as the oblique impetus for Sinners, now showing in cinemas, a bizarre tale of otherworldly wickedness and the blues. Sinner's first half is full of nuanced societal and development of character. From the Mississippi stroke Chicago link, which most people can identify with, to the amazing blues plotline that gives the drama life, veracity, and the degree of authenticity is superb. Just the party scene, which is tantalizing with life, culture, and social connection, is a cinematic masterpiece. In his debut as an actor, R&B singer-songwriter Miles Catton plays Sammy, a teenage blues guitarist and vocalist with extraordinary talent who is also the son of a preacher. Sammy is the cousin of Elijah and Elias Smoke, two twin scoundrels and sharp-dressing dandies who are somewhat portrayed by Michael B. Jordan. With a large sum of money, they intend to open their own juke joint where young Sammy will entertain audiences with his incredible music. However, a menacing country singer named Remick, who has a taste for Irish music, and one of the twins' ex-lovers, Barry Hailey Steinfeld, arrive and are welcomed to the establishment on a concession basis. And when night falls, vampires and the powers of gloom encroach, and that juke joint is besieged until the sun rises again. Sinners positions itself as a horror movie about vampires. Those sequences are visually stunning with well-executed computer-generated imagery, excellent camera work, and well-designed nighttime lighting. The vampire twist and other horror aspects are deftly incorporated. The movie changes direction halfway through and becomes something completely different for a while, much like From Dusk Till Dawn. Sinners, however, brings the themes back together with genuine emotional and narrative depth in contrast to Dusk, which tends toward light-hearted pandemonium. The terror enriches rather than overpowers. The last sequence of the movie connects the two worlds in a significant and provocative way. The film Sinners is so full of unfiltered passion and cultural significance that it almost bursts out onto the screen. The characters' magnetism and escalating tension that rises progressively draw you into the setting from the very first frame. The supernatural aspect, which brings a torrent of gruesome and panic moments that feels both imminent and surprising, contrasts that emotional pulse in a dark, seemingly aggressive way. When hell eventually breaks out, you feel every instant of it because the ensemble is so good at capturing the early, more subdued, character-oriented sequences. By the time Sinners approaches its heartbreaking, moving conclusion, you are flooded with thoughts as well as scared. This is the type of movie that stays with you beyond even after you are done watching. Point to note, some sequences will only be displayed in IMAX due to their larger aspect ratio. Any high-end screen, such as Dolby Cinema, Ultra Screen, et al., will work if you are unable to visit an IMAX. But the bigger the screen and louder the audio, the better the film experience.